violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video. All right, guys, so I wanted to talk about the black femicide rate. Obviously, it is growing statistically speaking. Unfortunately, it looks like domestic disputes are going up across all races, but specifically in the community. And these domestic disputes are no longer staying disputes. They are actually ending in homicides. And that is pretty much what I cover. Okay, that's pretty much what I go over on this channel, which is not supported by YouTube to expose this type of stuff. Otherwise, it, negatively affects the agenda that they are looking to push on the community. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reference a couple articles, then we're going to get into the normal story, news story format as our example. But I mean, this thing is just getting out of control. And a lot of the time the sisters are kind of advocating for the policies that continue to enable this type of activity. So let's get into the video. Study finds black women murdered by men are nearly always killed by someone they know, most commonly with a firearm. Okay. Annual Violence Policy Center study ranks the states by the rate of females deleted by males in advance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. And this comes out of 2019 data. So Washington, D.C., 9 out of 10 black women murdered by men are killed by someone they know, most often with a gun, according to the new Violence Policy Center study When Men Murder Women, an analysis of 2019 homicide data. Each year, the VPC releases their report in advance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. The study uses 2019 data, the most recent year for which information is available. The study covers homicides involving one female murder victim and one male offender using data from the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Supplementary Homicide Report. The studies found that in 2019, 501 black females were murdered by males in single victim, single offender incidents at a rate of 2.34 per 100,000. And this is just single victim, single offender incidents. This isn't multiple victims, which we are now seeing. If you guys have not been awake, I've already covered this on my channel that unfortunately, it doesn't bring me joy to say this, but black men are the face of mass shootings in the United States. And a lot of the times when there are domestic disputes, he's taking out the whole squad. He's taking out everybody in the house, grandmama, the children, the pregnant women, anybody in the crib, he's taking them out. So this is, it's not a favorable statistic, but if they're not even counting situations where multiple victims were slain, then I know that number has to be a very unflattering number. In comparison, the rate for white women murdered by males for that year was 0.99 per 100,000 nationwide. So looks like we're double the rate of white women murdered, which isn't good. Across all races, 1795 females were murdered, or 1,795 females were murdered by males in single victim / single offender incidents in 2019 at a rate of 1.18 per 100,000 for a slideshow presenting key findings from the study on black females killed by males. Click here. Okay, so that's the key findings, which we could look into. Let's see. It says firearms, especially handguns, were the most common weapons used by males to murder black females. When the murder weapon could be identified, 70% of black female victims were shot and killed with guns. Within that group, 65% were killed with a handgun. VPC legislative director Kristen Rand states, lethal violence against women, and in particular intimate partner homicide, is a national crisis with a particularly devastating impact on black women. Additional findings from the report relating to black females murdered by black males. Compared to a black male, a black female is far more likely to be killed by her spouse, an intimate acquaintance, or a family member than by a stranger. Where the relationship could be determined, 91% of black females killed by males in single victim, single offender incidents knew their killers. Of the black victims who know their offenders, 60% were wives, common law wives, ex-wives, or girlfriends of the offenders. More than 9 times as many black females were murdered by a male they knew than were killed by male strangers. Wow. So it looks like the people who are around the sister, maybe intimate partners, whatnot, or family members, brothers, sisters, these are the individuals who are taking their lives, unfortunately. The vast majority of homicides of black females murdered by males were not related to any other felony crime. Most often, black females were killed by males in the course of an argument. In cases where the circumstances could be identified, 89% were not related to the commission of any other felony. The number of black females shot and killed by their husband or intimate acquaintance was nearly 4 times as high as the total number murdered by male strangers using all weapons combined. That's horrible. In 2019, black females accounted for 14% of the female population in the United States, while 28% of the females killed by males in single victim, single offender incidents were the race of the victim was known were black. Okay, or where the victim was known were black. So they're saying, let's see, in 2019, black females accounted for 14% of the female population in the United States, while 28% of the females killed by males in single victim, single offender incidents were the race of the victim, where the race of the victim was known were black. So basically, they're saying there's a disproportionate amount of black women who are killed compared to their actual population in the United States. So it really doesn't make sense for there only to be, well, they're saying black females accounted for 14% of the female population, but there are 28% of the females that are deleted by males. So that, I mean, that's a very daunting statistic. The study also ranks each state based on the homicide rate for women across all races killed by men. Below are the states within or with the 10 highest rates of females of all races murdered by males in single victim, single offender incidents in 2019. So it looks like Alaska's number 1, New Mexico, Nevada, New Hampshire, Louisiana, South Carolina, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Wow. So I mean, it's definitely not looking good for domestic violence. If you guys want to check this out, this is the study here. And what we can do is we can actually look at the full study on a live. But the next article I have here is by The Guardian, an unspoken epidemic. Homicide rate increase for black women rivals that of black men. So this is a more updated study. This article dropped June 25th, 2022. So 5 black women and girls were killed each day in 2020. Wow. Most of them with guns. Gender violence must be at the center of gun debate, advocates say. The killings of black women, 5 findings from our investigation. All right. So let's see how long this one is. So it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. We don't have time to read it all. But what I will say, though, when you look at the data, it says black women and girls had the second highest homicide rate increase from 2019 to 2020. So as you can see, the homicide rate increase went from or it increased 33% from 2019 to 2020. So that is not good at all. And obviously, we are outpacing everybody by a large margin, unless you want to include the American Indian or Alaskan Native population, which we already saw they have the highest rates of femicide in Alaska, as you know, per 2019. But we also see an increase in the black male homicide rate by 34% from 2019, which is outpacing the black female homicide rate. There's a lot of murder in the black community in general, or the community, I should say. But man, I mean, this is a staggering statistic. What does this mean for the future of black dating? Not so sure anymore.
Yo, what's good, BGZM News 17 family? I'm at the corner of Jesse Jackson and Marcus Garvey, and I got some bad news for you. As you can see, I lost my job. I'm out here living in cardboard boxes outside of boarded up vacant homes. YouTube said I'm done getting money out here in these streets. They even took my funky ass suit. So anything right now would help. So go ahead and hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that GoFundMe. Hell, cop the merch. Or if you want to make the long-term commitment to the Jinquavius Jackson Fund, join the Patreon so that I can continue to put out top-notch content each and every day. Also, check out the Rumble, where there is absolutely no censorship. Link in the description box below.
Hey, yo, ain't that nigga Jinquavius? Yo, I recognize.
No, that's not me no more.
Hey, yo, run your pocket.
Y'all killing me with this shit.
Nigga. Do the opposite of Antonio Brown and take
What
all your
more
shit
do
off.
you want from me?
And we are also following breaking news tonight, and DeKalb County police have just made an arrest in the death of a pregnant woman. 22-year-old Diamonte Haithcoats is now charged with murder.
And Diamonte,
Murder.
it says Diamante. That's how I read it. They're saying Diamante. They're not pronouncing the A. Diamante is way too close to demon. And as you guys know, the super gremlins are on demon time.
Police say he shot and killed Shaniyah Rodriguez earlier this month at the Brandon Hill condominium community on Old Singleton Lane. Officials say he was the father of her baby, and the two lived together. And at last check, that child is in critical condition.
Wow.
Haithcoats is now being held without bond.
The DeKalb County Sheriff's Office arrested a suspect in the murder of a pregnant woman. 22-year-old Diamonte Haithcoats is now charged with malice murder. According to the arrest warrant, police found Shaniyah Rodriguez shot to death February 2nd on Old Singleton Lane. She was 7 months pregnant with Haithcoats' child.
So this is another level of baby mama, baby daddy drama. You have these black men who they get the woman pregnant, and then later on into the third trimester, they go and delete the woman. I mean, maybe he didn't want to have the child, but that is not an excuse at all. What I will say, though, a lot of you women probably should not have children with men who don't want to have those kids, especially these super gremlins out here, because they might pull up for that free abortion, no cap. And it looks like that's the route that a lot of brothers are taking. Unfortunately, it's not cool at all, man. It's horrible. And you know, this guy is an absolute monster, especially the way that he ruthlessly deleted the mother of his child, but then pretty much left the what the left would call a clump of cells, but what I would call a baby girl to die, you know, in the womb. And I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Just hours ago, the man accused of killing his pregnant girlfriend was arrested in Stone Mountain. And now 22-year-old Diamonte Haithcoats is sitting behind bars. His baby girl is now hooked up to a breathing and feeding machine, and while doctors were able to save her, she is still in critical condition.
We spoke with the victim's family tonight, and our Cody Alcorn has their reaction to this arrest.
Picked up outside a barber shop 25 days after DeKalb County Police.
Outside a barber shop. So he was trying to get fresh. He got bread because the barber's taxing $50 a cut nowadays. And he didn't see any issue with what he did, apparently. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Police say Diamonte Haithcoats shot the woman carrying his baby.
If you didn't want to be with her, why not just leave? Even if you didn't want nothing to do with that baby, you could have just left.
Adrian Rodriguez says she treated Haithcoats like a son.
You called me mom. I opened my door to you because you had nowhere to go.
Wow. So the mother could not see through the BS of the seemingly charming super gremlin of the hour. I mean, I get it. He probably put on his best his best representative, right, is what the women call it. These guys, they put on their representative and they seem like nice guys. They seem cool until, you know, things hit the fan and, you know, it ends tragically. My thing is, this dude didn't have nowhere to stay. She said she opened up, you know, her home to this man, probably let him crash. This is why it's so important to have the father in the home, because, you know, the father is going to veto that. Like, why are you dating this dude who needs to crash at your place? Doesn't make sense.
Even if you didn't want nothing to do with that baby, you could have just left.
Adrian Rodriguez says she treated Haithcoats like a son.
You called me mom. I opened my door to you because you had nowhere to go.
On February 2nd,
he had nowhere to go. I mean, that's insane. Y'all better stop taking on these charity cases, bruh, because y'all women are ending up being the victims, and it's not a good look.
DeKalb County Police say they found Adrian's daughter, Shaniyah Rodriguez, shot in the Brandon Hill condominium complex. It sits right off Old Singleton Lane in Clarkston.
You left her on the side of the road like a dead animal.
Shaniyah was 8 months pregnant. She was rushed to the hospital where doctors were able to deliver her baby girl. However, they could not save her.
She's fighting. She's fighting.
As little Emiliani is fighting for her life, her grandmother says she's fighting to make sure the justice system does not fail them this time around.
My oldest son was killed 8 years ago on his 13th birthday.
So her oldest son was deleted on his 13th birthday. I mean, I guess this is the epigenetics at play.
His son was killed 8 years ago on his 13th birthday while he was asleep in the bed.
Adrian knows all too well an arrest doesn't always lead to a conviction. Her son's alleged killer was acquitted of murder in 2017.
I'm hoping for justice to...
And her son's killer, alleged killer, beat the body. Man, I mean, the racist criminal justice system is you know, is letting a lot of these super gremlins seep through the cracks, huh?
Prevail. It didn't the first go around, and give me a reason to have faith in the system again. He has to be held accountable. Like, I can't go through that again where nobody's held accountable.
New at 5, a murder suspect accused of shooting and killing his pregnant girlfriend was supposed to face a judge for the first time today, but he didn't show up. Channel 2's Taisha Fernandez is live in DeKalb County. And Taisha, the suspect...
What do they mean he didn't show up? I mean, that's crazy. Let's listen up.
...was apparently too combative with deputies to appear in court today.
Karen, in my 20-year career, I have never seen this. Let me walk you through what happened. I was inside this building here in a courtroom watching the first appearance hearing on a live feed, and the judge called the murder suspect's name. His public defender said he's not coming.
Wow.
Mr. Diamonte Haithcoats.
When this DeKalb County judge called the murder suspect's name Tuesday, we didn't see him on the screen. Instead, his public defender popped up and spoke to the judge.
Oh, Your Honor. Mr. Haithcoats, I was informed by the deputy that he needs to be reset. I tried calling him this morning in the pod. He wouldn't come to the phone, and the deputies tried to bring him down, but they told me that he was being very combative. So I was.
Wow. So this man started fighting with the deputies. He didn't want to come to his Zoom court date. I mean, this guy is a problem. Been a problem. Was a problem. I don't see how Mama Bear didn't see it. You know, just hoping, wishing, seeing the best in people. And she allowed a snake into her home. And, you know, if you guys, I know this woman wasn't a child, but the way that, you know, the way that she just was, I guess so, I don't even know how to say it, just so welcoming, I guess, to this guy, to her daughter's boyfriend, who they don't know from a can of paint, letting them stay with them just because he's smashing your daughter is crazy.
I was going to ask if he can be reset for tomorrow.
All right, Madam Clerk, can we reset Mr. Haithcoats for tomorrow?
Yes, Judge. He's accused of shooting and killing his pregnant girlfriend, Shaniyah Rodriguez, about 3 weeks ago. Shaniah's mother was watching this hearing online Tuesday.
I've never, ever seen it happen. Yeah, I was shocked.
When we spoke to her last week about not knowing who the alleged killer was, she was hopeful police would make an arrest soon. Now that they have, she can't believe it's her daughter's boyfriend who had been living in her house.
Wow. And honestly, I don't know why she couldn't believe that. Did she not see that they were having issues? Did it just happen overnight where he felt this way? I don't know, man. It just sounds wild.
I was shocked. I was happy. I was mad. I was disappointed. I was everything in one. I wanted to jump up and down, wanted to scream. Like, I called him my son-in-law. Everybody I introduced him to, my son-in-law.
Now, even though the victim died, doctors were able to save her baby. She's still struggling in the NICU. Now, when it comes to this family getting justice, they just hope that this suspect has his first appearance tomorrow because they want to get on with these hearings. We're live in DeKalb County. Taisha Fernandez, Channel 2 Action News.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, I could still get shot by the police. I could get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.